I just don't understand why you want it so far to that side.
This is my good side.
They're all my good side.
Little brother. Morning squad, we are back again with another devotional, and this time we are going to be in Matthew chapter 8 verses 1 through 4. When he came down from the mountain, large crowds followed him. Right away a man with leprosy came up and knelt before him, saying, "Lord, if you are willing, you can make me clean." Reaching out his hand, Jesus touched him, saying, "I am willing, be made clean." Immediately his leprosy was cleansed. Then Jesus told him, "See that you don't tell anyone, but go show yourself to the priest and offer the gift that Moses commanded as a testimony to them."
This is one of my absolute favorite stories about Jesus because it reveals so much to us about his character and his compassion just in these couple of verses. But let's start with the man with leprosy since we hear from him first. He sees Jesus coming with this large crowd, and he obviously has heard about Jesus. He obviously knows who he is and knows exactly who he is, even in relation to God, because when he comes up to him, he starts by addressing him as Lord. He doesn't call him Jesus. He doesn't call him Rabbi, which were ways that his disciples had referred to him previously. He immediately calls him Lord and identifies him as the Son of God, which is incredible to me that even this leper who had been outside of society could see that Jesus was the Son of God. And he comes and he makes a very bold statement. He says, "If you are willing, you can make me clean." He doesn't say if you are able, if you've got the time, if it would be convenient for you, if you don't have anything else going on. He says, "Jesus, I know you've got the power, and this is the time. I'm right here in front of you. If you are willing, if you want my life to be changed, you can do it, and you can do it right now." And what I want us to take away from this is that in our prayer life, it is so okay for us to come to God with these big needs that we have sometimes. This was a big need for him. It is okay for us to come to him and to be very bold. Sometimes when I have stuff in my prayer life that I feel like has to happen, that I feel like is vital for me or for my family, I will say at the end, "God, I already know that you're going to do these things." And sometimes I'll repeat it over and over because I just believe that from my perspective that this is something that we really need, and I know that God is going to work in our situation. I just know it. I already do. So just be bold when you come in your prayer time.
Yeah. It goes on to say in verse 3 that reaching out his hand, Jesus touched him, saying, "I am willing, be made clean." Immediately his leprosy was cleansed. I think it's an important note to take that Jesus was so willing to meet this man where he was, that he had been on the outs of society for who knows how long, and Jesus was so willing to reach down and insert himself in this man's situation.
Yeah. And not only was he willing to come into his situation, he physically touches this man. We've seen Jesus perform miracles up to this point where he just looked at them and they were healed, where he healed someone from across town because the person said that they had so much faith that Jesus says, "Well, when you get home, they're good." He had someone touch his clothes and they were made clean. And this guy was, according to the Old Testament laws, ceremonially unclean. And it would be against the law for Jesus to touch him. And Jesus would then become ceremonially unclean. But Jesus says, "I don't care about any of that. I already came this far. I came out of heaven and became a person to come be close to you. What's the next step for me to go from clean to unclean?" And puts his hands on this person that has had no meaningful human interaction in God only knows how long. All that you were allowed to do as a leper is go outside the walls of the city and wait for your skin disease to go away. You couldn't go home. You couldn't see your family. You couldn't go to the temple and worship God. And so Jesus comes into that very, very dark situation for this man and puts his hands on him. Jesus knew the need that was really behind his need. He needed to get rid of this leprosy so that he could be around people, so that he could worship God, so that he could be back in society. And Jesus gives him that meaningful human interaction and the healing.
Yeah. So this is a short passage, but definitely one that has a lot of meaning. And so I want to encourage you guys that when you are praying, that like Mark said in the beginning, it's okay to be bold. It's okay to be vehement and come to God and declare that you know He is going to do these things. but also that he is so willing to put himself in your situation. We find ourselves so often in situations that we don't want to be in circumstances that we've either put ourselves in or found ourselves in, and God so desperately wants to reach his hand and touch that situation, touch you in your life, in that moment in your life, and that's what he wants to do for all of us all the time.
Yeah. Guys, we hope this helps. We love you so much. We will see you on Wednesday. Bye.
Bye.